The situation is tense in Armenia as President Armen Sarkissian on Saturday received a proposal to fire the head of the country's armed forces, intensifying a standoff between Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and the army's commanders over what Pashinyan said was an attempted coup to remove him. On Tuesday, Sarkissian decided not to sign the draft decree proposed by the Prime Minister, Pashinyan, on dismissing Onik Gasparyan. Pashinyan dismissed Gasparyan last Thursday, but he still needs the formal approval of the President. According to the Constitution, President Sarkissian now has two choices, either to sign the decree or to challenge it at the Constitutional Court, for which he has time until Wednesday. Instead, the President now appealed to the Constitutional Court to challenge the constitutionality of the amendments to the law on military service, the law which the Prime Minister based on while making his decision. The opposition kept believing that Sarkissian would appeal to the Constitutional Court over the Prime Minister's proposal to dismiss Onik Gasparyan. However, his action caused heated disputes in social media, as in such a situation, Gasparyan would be dismissed automatically. Although media reported that Prime Minister visited Sarkissian as the latter is facing health issues after contracting COVID-19, some analysts believe that the parties agreed to fulfill the Prime Minister's wish and use legal manipulation to dismiss Onik Gasparyan. Thus, analysts have noted that with his inaction, Sarkissian has actually quote-unquote dismissed Gasparyan. The Armed Forces leadership has issued another statement on the current situation in Armenia. The leadership of the Armed Forces of Armenia reaffirms its assessment on the current situation and stresses that it remains unwavering, prudent, and persistent, regardless of the attempts to entangle the armed forces in political processes. The current situation shows that the leadership of the armed forces is only guided by state interests and only serves the people, governed by the norms of the Constitution and laws of the Republic of Armenia. The statement reads in particular. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan on Tuesday invited opposition Bright Armenia Party leader Edmond Marukyan to a meeting to discuss all the proposals amid the political crisis in the country. Marukyan told reporters in the parliament that he had agreed to the meeting. "I suppose that we will meet tomorrow," he added. A bipartisan group of over 180 U.S. representatives has called on Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to quote-unquote elevate human rights in American policy towards an increasingly undemocratic and anti-American Turkey, the Armenian National Committee of America, the ANCA, reported. In a letter to Congress, lawmakers noted that, and we quote, President Erdogan and his Justice and Development Party have used their nearly 2 decades in power to weaken Turkey's judiciary, install political allies in key military and intelligence positions, crack down on free speech and free press, and wrongfully imprison political opponents, journalists, and minorities. End of quote. The ANCA has welcomed the bipartisan congressional letter condemning Erdogan's human rights violations. Rescue squads of the Artsakh, Nagorno-Karabakh State Service of Emergency Situations on Tuesday resumed the search for the bodies of the fallen servicemen and for the missing soldiers. The search was suspended since February the 15th at the request of the Azerbaijani side. After the ceasefire and as a result of the search operation since November the 13th, 2020, the bodies of 1,485 fallen Armenian servicemen, participants of the military operations, and civilians have been retrieved so far.